Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Stir Trek, the second session of the day. Everybody excited? Anybody scared of ChatGPT? A little bit, maybe? Well, we're going to talk over the next hour a bit about ChatGPT and hopefully get rid of some of the fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and find some things that it's really good for. It's not good for everything, but there are definitely some things that you can do that will make your life much easier and let you get work done more quickly and efficiently. So, I'm Matt Williams. You may have seen me here. You may have seen me at CodeMash or other places. You may occasionally see me out in various parks, usually behind a camera. I apologize for sitting down on the job today. I recently had ankle surgery and made the mistake earlier in the week of asking PT to crank it up a notch. And of course, they were very, very happy to do so. So I'm feeling it today. There are slides available. It's a PDF file, but feel free to take a picture of the QR code. That will take you to the GitHub repo. And then you can just download it from there. The slides will probably change some, but, this is the internet. Unless it's on archive.org, it's subject to change. And at least it's not like SharePoint or Confluence where documents go to die. So ChatGPT has been in the news a lot of late. There's been a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt about using it ethically, what it can be used for, how it's going to cause problems. Even this morning, as I was getting around, NPR had a report on various and sundry AI company execs who went to the White House this week to talk about AI, ChatGPT, images, and so forth. And there was still some FUD in what they had to present. So, anybody ever remember the old style maps of Here Be Dragons? Yeah, so here's a ChatGPT dragon. This is kind of a scary ChatGPT dragon. Let's see if over the course of the talk we can take this scary dragon and make him a little more friendly. So as I was saying, there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt that is within the AI, ChatGPT, etc. People are scared that it's going to replace people's jobs. They're scared and they're afraid that all the years that they have spent developing their careers, learning how to be developers, learning how to be IT professionals, here ChatGPT comes and it's going to be able to replace them. We'll see later on some code that I had it generate. It's actually not that bad, but I certainly wouldn't ask it to, say, generate an entire application. So there's a lot more to IT and software engineering than simply writing code. Understanding your data. If you don't understand the data and what you need to do with it, you can't write an application. And everything that we do in IT is manipulating data. So, you can have ChatGPT or some of the other AI tools go in and maybe perhaps check your code, provide tests, boilerplates for APIs, but we already have tools for all of these things. That's really not anything new. So where can some people be a little afraid? People on Fiverr, perhaps? However, my wife recently produced an 11-page business document in an hour, leveraging ChatGPT. She fed in a series of questions. It spat out some. And of course, she had to edit it, but it cut down the amount of time that she spent tremendously. Or creating user profiles, use cases, things like that. So you can also use ChatGPT as the modern Cliff Notes. Summarize this for me. Give me some bullet points. What are the important things that I need to know as takeaways? So you're going to have to learn some new skills in the era of ChatGPT. Showing my age here, but when I was younger and in high school and such, if we needed to do research, we went into the library. We, either used the Library of Congress or a Dewey Decimal System. If we had some idea, we might go into the card catalog, or we just go to the shelf and start browsing. And then the internet came and was around for a while. Actually, the internet was around when I was still in school. But after, the World Wide Web came about, and then Google happened. And now, in order to be able to find data, you had to be able to Google. A whole new set of skills to learn. Here we are in the ChatGPT era. There is an art, as well as a science, to writing good prompts for ChatGPT. And we'll talk about them more later. But you're still going to have to keep your skills up to date. Just the same thing in IT for all of us. If we don't keep our skills up to date, we become dinosaurs. And we may as well program in COBOL. Oh, okay, there must be some COBOL programmers in the audience. And then there's the new COBOL, Java. So ChatGPT itself says that it's a tool that can augment, but not take the place of humans. Humans still need to trust to some degree, but verify. Rewrite something, do some wordsmithing, and so forth. Now, are we going to take ChatGPT's word for it? We should still verify. And we are just now scratching the surface of what we can do with it. Everybody remember when they first found the World Wide Web? How many hours you spent, just browsing, because it was awesome. And then, Wilfing, what was I looking for? 2 hours or more elapse. How'd I get here? This is especially a problem if you were one of those kids who, you're taken to the library for your study hour to research for your paper, and you get lost in the encyclopedia. Anybody else have that happen? Yeah. I see a few hands. So not everybody who raised their hand's a gray beard like me. So what are the limitations? Like all tools, there's limitations. If all you have is a hammer, everything that you have, every problem, is going to start looking like a nail. And you just bash away at it. As IT professionals, the more tools we have in our toolbox, the more effective we will be. I keep some tools in my car. They're crappy tools, but they're better than no tool when I break down on the side of the road. The more tools we have, the better it makes us as craftspeople, as IT professionals. So ChatGPT, it's pretty powerful. There's a lot of things it can do, but it's not going to be, the zombie apocalypse or I'll be back. So ChatGPT doesn't know or understand context. You feed it a prompt. The prompt tells ChatGPT what to think about, what to know about, and how to answer. But it doesn't know anything else. It's almost as every new chat that you start, it's with a freshly mind-wiped AI. It knows stuff. It's got the encyclopedia and everything else, but it doesn't know what you've already told it. And if you said dog, well, it doesn't know what kind of dog you're talking about. My Kidzilla, as we're driving around, they like critters. And they have this habit of going, dog! No, it'd be one thing if it was squirrel, but, they love dogs. And ChatGPT is kind of similar. It doesn't really know anything that you don't tell it. It also really doesn't do a good job with differences in the language. Yes, you can feed in something, ask it to translate it for you, and it'll translate it. I haven't tried it yet. I'll probably try it later. But I'm willing to bet it's like the early natural language processing and translation experiment where they put in the spirit is good, but the flesh is weak, translated it to Russian, came back, and the vodka is good, but the meat is rotten. It also doesn't really understand emotions. Anybody ever play with Eliza? All right, I'm definitely showing my age here. I see one or two people in the back. Eliza was an early attempt to create a chatbot from around 1968, I believe, and mimicking a Rogerian psychologist. So, tell me about your mother. Why do you feel that way about your mother? It's simulating these things, but it really doesn't have emotions. It really doesn't understand critical thinking either. It's one of those things where it can, based off of patterns in text that it's already seen, that it can, make a guess, but it's really not good at this. It's also not really good at personalizing the output. You can feed it text that you have written yourself and say, based on the text that I provide you, answer this question for me, or do this for me in the style that is similar to my text that I just entered. But it's still not quite there. You'll still want to edit it. Again, trust but verify. And the thing it's worst at, creativity. It only knows what it's been told. It can't be creative. So think that you're working with an intern. They're going to do stuff for you to help you, make it so you don't have to do it yourself. But they make mistakes, and sometimes they lie at you. I know somebody who fed in a bunch of genealogy data, asked some questions, and it started making stuff up. A lot of history things may or may not also have that happen. And also, ChatGPT is falling behind. The last that any data was loaded into it was 2001. Here we are now in 2003. So for certain sorts of questions, such as who are market leaders in AI, in cloud providers, it's going to give you information. And it might even say, these are within the Gartner Magic Quadrant, or here are things to look at. But you have to remember, the data could be out of date. So you'll need to look and see what's really out there. So what can it do? Helps you work smarter, not harder. It's automating tasks, providing insights. Feed it a document. What are the points here? Streamline communication. One of the things that I've used it for is to rewrite emails, say, in a more collaborative manner. Because, in the heat of the moment, you dash off an email, and it might not say exactly what you want it to say, in the tone that's not a career-limiting tone. So by having it rewrite it in a more collaborative manner, this is one way it'll help you get things done and keep you from losing your job, potentially. So another thing that you can do is use it to write abstracts for you. And make it so you can speak at conferences. I wouldn't know anybody who has personally done this, but that said, it can be helpful. You'll still want to edit it, but just to get an idea. Or, hey, I want to speak about databases and modern trends in databases. Give me 5 titles for talks. And then from there, you can then flesh it out. But it's really good at brainstorming. It can also help you learn a new language. The first night I played with ChatGPT, I fed this in. I also fed it in for Ruby, Java, awk, bash, PostScript, and Forth. And, all the code worked. It's not necessarily how I would have written it, but it all worked. So being able to, ask questions, how would I do this? ChatGPT may just be giving Stack Overflow a run for its money. But again, don't use a single tool. Use all the tools in your toolbox. So here's the code that it presented. It's pretty straightforward. Pull in the CSV library and go from there. But what I really like about it is it then explains what the code is doing and how to use it. So it will better help you understand what's going on. Some languages it supports better than others. I actually, for grins and giggles yesterday, based off a comment someone made, asked it to generate this in APL. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough of font support for all the hieroglyphics to appear. You could also rewrite emails. You can summarize long texts and accelerate your learning. By the way, other than the picture of me and all of the pictures in this talk were generated by an AI. Had to be done. And there's references to a number of famous paintings in here. So you can, again, summarize long documents, articles. You could say feed the C programming language by K&R into it, and then produce an article for me with the top points from K&R, and then post it as a blog post, whatever. Brainstorm new ideas. Hey, I want to write about this. Give me 10 ideas. Give me titles. Give me recipes. I want to have this for dinner. I have in the fridge chicken and spinach and 3 eggs. Make a menu for me. Now, that's one you definitely want to verify. But yeah, these are all different things you can do. You could also say, I want to do a 2-day workshop on this topic. Generate an agenda with the various topics to be covered. I've done that. It works pretty well. Obviously, it helps if you have some level of familiarity with it so that you can then verify it yourself. But, how long do people spend putting together workshop agendas or even a meeting agenda? You can train it to generate prompts for you. And the prompts are the way that you ask it to ask questions of it. We'll talk more about prompts in a minute, but let's pull up. Let's see here. There. I want you to become my prompt creator. Create the best prompt for my needs. I want to write about sustainable IT. And we're going to continue to improve it. So you and ChatGPT can work collaboratively and go back and forth to, it'll give you suggestions. It'll ask you questions to better hone in on your prompt that you want to use. And I'm saying, okay, let's limit our sustainable IT to agile practices. And then it gives a revised prompt, asks some more questions, like, what are you interested in? Scrum, Kanban, etc. Are there any specific practices and methodologies you want to see? Are you interested in environmental, social aspects of it? And I'm interested in a combination because, I want to know it all. And then it gives me another prompt. And so, we're tweaking and tweaking. And I want to also get future trends and predictions. Now, mind you, again, this is based off of 2021 knowledge. But, it's still going to have some validity. And finally, it helps to be polite. If you talk to ChatGPT in a sarcastic or angry tone, it's going to pick up on your tone. So it's always good to be polite. And then there's the prompt it gave me. And it ran out of space because it can only generate so many characters at once. So I asked it to continue. And there's the rest of the prompt. And then, because I was polite, it's being polite back to me. Nope. Sorry. Technical difficulties. All right, there we are. So it will also help you understand things more quickly. Part of this is the way that it can summarize things for you. But, and this I discovered recently, this is really, really, really cool. In general, 80% of the time, we only need to really know 20% of something. So with that, I asked it to learn Git in 20%. And, I want to learn about Git. Please identify and share the most important 20% so that I can understand 80% of it. So it gives a little bit of background. It gives some definitions. It gives you some basic commands to use. And actually, the commands it gives you are the ones you're going to use all the time. Now, will this make you an expert in Git? No. But it will very quickly let you get work done. You can also have it help you with your LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn is the new job market in many, many ways. And, we market one thing on LinkedIn. We market ourselves. So you can use ChatGPT to help create your tag, create your about, so forth and so on. And given how many people have been laid off of late, everybody should really keep their LinkedIn profile up to date. It's just my opinion, but take it for what it's worth. You can also have it rewrite your resume. Say if there's a job that you're wanting to pursue that your resume wasn't really tailored for, but you can do the job. you can then have it rewrite your resume to target a particular role. You can have it write a cover letter for you. You can have it do different tones. Say, for instance, if you know someone who works at a company, you can say, write it in a style that I'm familiar with so-and-so, or I know so-and-so who works at your company. And then because you already have a connection with the company, it's not a cold letter and more likely to be read. You can have it help you prepare for a job interview. What are the questions I'm most likely to see in an interview? And it'll give you a list. You can also ask for answers for those. Again, trust, but verify, but you're not going into the interview cold. You at least have some ideas of what people might ask you. You can also use it to improve your writing. We talked a little bit earlier about how it can, produce a certain amount of tone. You could say, rewrite this document for an executive audience. Rewrite this for millennials. Rewrite this for Gen Z. Rewrite this for IT professionals. These are all different types of tone that you could have it rewrite your document under. Okay, is my battery? My battery is dead. Oh well. There. That's why. I hate McAfee. McAfee is a virus. So you can generate marketing and sales copy, press releases, identify your customers and what they're looking for, create profiles. And again, since we're marketing ourselves, we can write letters or have it generate letters about ourselves. Feed in your resume. Have it write an introductory letter about you, a marketing letter. Here, I'm marketing myself. You can also have it help you enhance problem-solving skills. Here's a problem. Give me a step-by-step how to do it. You can learn new skills. I want to learn this new skills. I want to spend this number of hours doing it. Create a project plan for me to do so. It really comes up some good stuff here. Especially, if it's something new to you. You might know something similar, but I've been really pleased with the output from ChatGPT for this. I apologize, it is dry in here, and talking's thirsty work. I mentioned before that ChatGPT is the new Cliff Notes. It works. What are the major takeaways that I need? It may not work as well for more recently published books, but, what are the main points for Huck Finn? What is the major controversy about Huck Finn? Please give me a list of the most banned books with a summary for each. You can also get feedback from historical figures. As Socrates, I want you to act as Socrates and answer the following questions that I might have. Of course, Socrates and Plato both are going to turn around and ask you questions. But that said, you can get an idea of how some historical figure might look at something. Bill and Ted were actually ahead of their time. This would work really good for a social studies class or project. How would Sigmund Freud view this particular topic? And then you could create an interview. We saw that slide already. Oh, well. Again, you can use it to help you learn how to solve problems. You can also overcome writer's block. Give me 5 blog post titles, about DevOps. And you can also ask it for stories and metaphors. We all learn stories. Stories are what stick in our head. Going back to Around the Fire and the stories about how Uncle Grog almost got bit by the saber tooth, but he was able to get away. Or me, last summer, I had a close encounter out at the wilds with a dinosaur, and I got bit. I got bit by an ostrich. And there's a great story behind it. Or, you tell the story about how you met your girlfriend or your wife. All these stories shape us. All these stories are how we remember. You can also test yourself on a topic. This one's really, really cool. So let's see here. I asked it some questions about sustainability, it asked me some questions. Asked me a series of questions that'll test my knowledge, identify knowledge gaps, and give me better answers to fill the gaps. So it gave me 5 questions, and I answered one, and I was wrong. And it's polite about it. It's not really condescending. But, it definitely was, a learning experience. And then it said, okay, let's go on to the next questions. And you don't actually have to answer these in any particular order. You just give the number that you're replying to. But this is a quick way to test your knowledge on a particular topic. I thought this one was really cool because of the interaction of it. So it's not just, hey, ChatGPT, spit out this data for me, but you're actually interacting with it. So ChatGPT is not going to replace your job. Can it replace the boring parts? Yeah. You could feed it an API and have it generate documentation. Who likes writing documentation? I saw one hand go up, but it was, the person was kind of ashamed of raising their hand, and it went down real fast. So yes, writing documentation can be kind of brutal. The boring things. Oh, I've done this 1,000,000 times already. I've spent time over the years as a sysadmin. And there's the concept that a good sysadmin is a lazy sysadmin. You do something a couple times, so you know it. And, I got so I could edit sendmail config files, at least the easy parts. And then I used a tool for it. I automated it so that, I could go on and do other things. Same thing with ChatGPT. You can have it do the grunt work for you. So, how do I write a prompt? What are some things that will make prompting work better? You want to be clear and specific. Don't say, write about space. Write about space exploration. How many words do you want? So forth. You could say, focus on the human impact of space exploration. Ask direct questions. Rather than tell me about World War II, what were the main causes of World War II? And I actually fed a prompt into the image generator to get this image. I threw in robot Pablo Picasso Guernica style. And this is what I got out. So it's, a pattern after Guernica by Pablo Picasso, and it's got robots. You specify your format. Instead of just saying, write a poem about nature, write a haiku about springtime in Ohio. Write a, 12-line poem of rhyming couplets. Write a ballad style. Write in the style of Geoffrey Chaucer's Canterbury Tales introduction. These are all different things that you could feed in. Your mileage will vary, but you can get some really neat stuff coming out of it. But the more specific you are, the better results you'll get. So ChatGPT, if you remember from earlier, I had said that it only knows what you tell it. So as a result, there are ways to prime the pump, as it were. Anybody ever have to prime a pump? The pump doesn't work real well by itself until you pour a little bit of water in it, and then you can start pumping. Same thing with ChatGPT. So you can give it a system message, and the system message is used to provide some context. ChatGPT by itself does not have any context. And so you can say you're an assistant specializing in 19th century literature, for instance. So the prompt for the image, I'm kind of bemused by this one. I had it feed in robots, catwalk, Monet. And so, there's a robot there, and if you look behind them, there's some cats. So, you never really quite know what you're going to get out of those AI art generators. And of course, Monet's in the public domain, so this is an homage. Give it instructions in the prompt also works. Rather than saying, what is photosynthesis? You can say, hey, here's my audience. Tell me about it using language appropriate to a specific audience. Then there are personas. So ChatGPT can wear a variety of masks. You remember earlier we gave it the prompt to imagine that you are some famous person from history. Those are the personas. So you can, first off, need to, give it something that's actually useful. Unless you want to create the next Elf on a Shelf book or Mensch on a Bench, you probably don't want to use you're a mischievous elf who enjoys playing pranks on people. No, you're a historian specializing in ancient Rome. And then you could ask about gladiators. Then you could ask about the Colosseum, about Roman law, the Forum, the roads, aqueducts, what have you. You can also assign a persona, whether it be in a system message, in a prompt. These are all different ways that you can do it. And now there are robots in a Manet painting. Details about the persona. The more detail you give the persona, the better it can shape the answer. Now, it knows who Sigmund Freud is. It knows who Socrates is. It knows who Billy the Kid was, and so forth. Abraham Lincoln, Marie Curie. But, beyond that, if you just want a generic expert for a specific topic, then you need to tell it more data. So there's this tool called Snack Prompt. And if the pigeons are still transferring TCP/IP, yes. We're in luck. So Snack Prompt is basically a Chrome extension that will give you prompts that you can then feed into ChatGPT. And I will say, if you're going to use ChatGPT on an often basis, spend the $20 a month to get ChatGPT 4. It's really worth it. It's faster, it provides better answers, and so forth. Here's a prompt for writing a complete book in one click. The one click's kind of a lie because it can't produce all of the text in one click. You have to tell it, generate chapter 1. Please continue chapter 1. Please continue chapter 1. Generate chapter 2, and so forth. But you can quickly generate a book on a topic. And, I did this the other day. And I'm not going to use it for the book. But there's a variety of good blog posts that can be garnered from it. there's a variety of good LinkedIn posts, and it's all about the networking. Forget the Benjamins. So that said, you can highlight or bookmark different prompts. And I'm just going to click on one that has, just to demonstrate. All right, at random. Midjourney is a really, really powerful tool for generating images. Some of them are scarily good. But as many, many, many human artists have discovered over the millennia, except for cave paintings, hands are hard. So basically, all right, this one's not a good one. The way that the Snack GPT works is there's tags. So you can say the language, the tone, different things like that. Let me go back and fill it in. And so the individual prompts here are templated. So you can fill in your specific pieces that you want to work with and then be able to feed it into ChatGPT and get results. Saved. Resume editor, debug code, teach prompts, and so forth. And actually, all of the pointers on ChatGPT on terms of how to write prompts and so forth, who would know better how to create a prompt in GPT than ChatGPT? So ChatGPT gave me all of those examples. Don't be afraid to ask it questions. How would you do this? If it's something emotional, it's not going to be of much utility. But other than that, there's a lot of different things you can do with it. And you can even ask it things like, what does purple taste like? And well, he's honest. He says, I don't have a sense of taste, but here's what I understand. Or, what does silly rabbit cereal smell like? And with the silly rabbit cereal, somebody in one of my Signal groups was saying, I wonder what ChatGPT would do with this. They found a website that had perfumes, such as, Trix perfume. So I just, fed in silly rabbit cereal, and ChatGPT was able to give me something. Then, if you want to learn Kubernetes in 20 hours, here's a study guide. These are all different things that you can do with ChatGPT. And it basically goes through, creates an outline, and, you could use this for course creation. You don't have to use it just for yourself. The hardest part, in a lot of cases, for writing something is figuring out what you're going to write about. ChatGPT will help you with that. So I came across someone talking about an exercise called the 3 perspectives. I had no idea what it was. So let's see if ChatGPT was able to give me an answer. And it did. So the three perspectives, you look at it from the first person, the second, and then the third. But I'd never heard of it before. So this basically gives me a quick overview. I give it a prompt, for instance, on please write a blog post about pushing left on the IT delivery, including fast feedback loops. And please title it, Go Left Young Man, after Horace Greeley. And it knew who Horace Greeley was. And Horace Greeley was a newspaperman who's best known for Go West Young Man. And it put together something. I edited it, gave it my own voice. But I had something here in just a few minutes that I could then go and publish as a blog post. What would a resume for a fill in the area of specialty look like? Generate it for me. These are all different things that you can use ChatGPT for. And I have just started scratching the surface. You can also ask it to generate slides for you. And it will take you down into PowerPoint hell. Nested bullet, nested bullet, nested bullet. But, it's still a good starting place. So, the idea is make us more productive. Eliminate grunt work. Help us do the things that humans do well better. And at this point, Pandora's box is open. There's no putting the genie back in the bottle. No, there's no gin in the Bible. We can go forward. Just like Google was a game changer, ChatGPT is as well. But you know what? It's all going to be good as long as we treat it as an accelerator, something to help us get stuff done. And our scary dragon becomes a cuter, friendlier dragon. And real quick, one last thing. The tool that I use for generating images is called Stable Diffusion. And just for grins and giggles, earlier, since I am, kind of a Crookshanks at the moment, I asked it to give me a Roman robot after Vulcan in a pre-Raphaelite style. And it gave me 4 different options. But at any rate, thank you all. I hope that I was able to remove some of the fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and that you all will find stuff that ChatGPT will help you get things done. Enjoy the rest of Star Trek.